Thank you very much. I'm going to present what we call the fifth course, which is Storytelling for Digital Narratives and Blended Spaces. And the overarching goal of this course is to explore how storytelling and meaning making is created using digital technology. And it's quite diverse. We go from museum exhibitions to audio narratives to multimodal narratives, with lots of different modalities and new forms of textuality. Hypertext, that old revolutionary technology of Web 1.0, if some of you remember that, with its nodes and never-ending lexia, allowed us to hop and skip and jump from one website to another. And in a way, it's been subsumed and normalized into how we work on the web. But now what is favored is creating what we might call cognitive spaces or containers that provide spaces for readers, for visitors, to heritage sites, to users, to stay connected and focused on the narrative. So the objectives of the various units of this course is to provide strategies for students and professionals to create complex stories with new technologies that are rich in history and meaning making, insightful, thoughtful, and open for interpretation. So digital narratives are explored from a number of perspectives, and you can see the different units on this screen. Together, they explore how narrative shapes and gives meaning to our lives, how we use stories to understand our past and look forward to our futures, and to be more aware of and to make sense of our lives and the world around us. This course is designed for those who wish to bring a narrative element into the classroom practice, within particularly the digital arts, humanities, museum, archive, and heritage studies, or those who would like to explore these topics from professionals to those who aspire to be professionals in the heritage sector. And in my remaining time, I will explore Units 1 and 2, and Dr. Nofel will discuss Unit 4 right after my presentation. So the semiotics of the visual, predominant in pre-literate cultures, has reappeared with a vengeance in our image-saturated online existence. The rise of text-based literacy, particularly in the 19th century, as print became cheaper and more widely available, coupled as the century progressed, as nation states that began to bring in some mandatory education for all, replaced pre-literate knowledge of how to read meaning into images. Our current moment might be thought of as a return to the semiotics of the visual, as the technologies and platforms built on the backbone of the internet have increasingly favored image-based meaning making. Yet even here, in the most modern of modern technologies, Aristotle's three modalities of meaning making still hold true. The interplay between these three modes frames the reality of the stories being told. Given the right confluence of events, of these modalities, the imative, the narration, may not simply reveal a purported reflection of reality, a mirror up to nature, but provides us with a way to see beyond the surface, thus making visible the relationships between the representation and the represented world. The digital artifacts, as my colleague Costas has just been talking about, that we create are representations of our reality or realities. The narratives we create from these objects, including the self, exist in a two-dimensional plane, interposed by what we choose to include or exclude, thus creating meaning around and through the represented object. To explore how new technologies and old-fashioned stories collide, Unit 2 of this course, Snowfall and Other Multimodal Narratives, focuses on a new type of storytelling, which reached an apex in 2012 when the New York Times published a long-form multimodal narrative called Snowfall, the Avalanche at Tunnel Creek. And the story was so successful that in the world of journalism, there's now a genre of long-form stories called snowfall narratives. So it's a 6-scene article. You can get to it on the New York Times site. It's written by John Branch and was published on the 20th December 2012. And it tells a story of an avalanche that occurred earlier that year at Tunnel Creek in Washington State's Cascade Mountains. The avalanche caught the experienced skiing party of 16 off guard, and 3 of them died. And the story made an instant and profound impact on online literary journalism, garnering a Peabody Award and a Pulitzer Prize. What we use it for in this course is a way to have students explore the nuts and bolts about how to create a successful multimodal narrative. That multimodality is not simply about adding a lot of images and videos to a web page, but being quite considerate in terms of how the elements don't duplicate each other, but instead advance the story. Being mindful of the affordances of each medium to utilize such narrative elements as things like point of view, flashbacks, flash forwards, as well as the technical features such as parallax scrolling, montage, and the haptics involved in advancing narrative. This unit ends with a 2-part case study, which people can do on their own or can be used within a classroom. First, students use wireframing to map 2 sections of the snowfall story as a way to really, in a hands-on way, to explore how these elements combine and create a successful narrative. Narrative also visually and also haptically, because we need to advance the story. In the second part of the case study, students are provided with 2 other multimodal narratives to map, which they do with the same technologies, the same tools, and it's a way to understand what elements makes a multimodal narrative successful or maybe not so successful. So this combination of parallax scrolling, multimodal elements is not only used in journalism, one sees it everywhere, in content management system templates, in heritage institutions, and just on websites. So a case study will be added in the coming month that explores how heritage institutions can better utilize these techniques, both technical and narrative, to create online stories with or through or about their collections. So throughout the course, we use design thinking as a storytelling or meaning-making tool in and of itself, and as a method for discovering or solving problems. Different exercises and case studies, you can see 2 of them on this page, utilize analog or digital to get close to humanity's historical, critical, and creative formation. The storytelling is used as a method in the design thinking process, as well as a sense-making modality. So, in conclusion, this course emphasizes how technology is not a neutral carrier of narrative. It doesn't recede into the background, but rather it is instrumental in shaping and conveying meaning. Moreover, telling stories is also about sharing experiences, perspectives, emotions, whether used for good or bad. It's used to shape and reinforce our situated identities while probing trajectories within the contours and contexts of the world we believe we inhabit. Although McLuhan published The Medium and the Message, this quote is from that, in 1967, decades before our hyper-connected world, his insights underpin this course, as well as the internet itself, with its lightning speed changes in technology, which not only inform what we can do with that technology, but what that technology does with us. Thank you very much.